Spain has witnessed many storms throughout its history, but this time it is not politics or scandals rocking the country, it is fire. Wildfires have once again engulfed the land, leaving behind scorched earth, destroyed homes, and communities trembling in fear of what tomorrow might bring. Yet amidst the smoke and chaos, one voice has pierced through the haze and brought unexpected emotion to the forefront of Spain's national conversation. That voice belongs to Queen Letizia of Spain, and her urgent confession about the devastation caused by the wildfires is stirring not just sympathy, but also a new wave of public debate across the country and beyond. What did she say? Why now? And how is her statement reshaping the way Spain thinks about this recurring catastrophe? The Queen is known for her eloquence, her dignity, and her ability to connect with the Spanish people in moments of crisis, but rarely has she spoken with such raw intensity. During a visit to an affected community, surrounded by displaced families and emergency workers, she reportedly broke away from the carefully crafted royal protocol to express something deeply personal. Her words, described by witnesses as almost a plea, carried a confession that no one expected. Everyone, she said with trembling conviction, needs to understand that these fires are not someone else's problem. They are ours, they are Spain's, and they are destroying our home. We cannot look away any longer. It was more than a royal observation, it was a cry for unity, for awareness, and perhaps even for action in a nation where climate change, environmental mismanagement, and political disputes have collided with devastating consequences. This confession has electrified the Spanish media landscape. Newspapers splashed the Queen's words across their front pages, commentators debated whether her candid tone was intentional or the result of overwhelming emotion, and social media flooded with reactions ranging from admiration to critique. For many Spaniards, her words echoed their own pain, the suffocating smoke in their lungs, the sight of neighbors' houses turned to ash, the unbearable images of firefighters risking their lives as flames raged out of control. To hear their Queen, someone often seen as distant in the safety of palaces, speak so directly and so vulnerably struck a deep chord. Some critics, however, saw it differently. Was this truly a spontaneous confession, or a carefully timed intervention aimed at nudging politicians into action? Spain has long been divided over how to address wildfires, with some blaming local governments for poor land management and others pointing to the global impact of climate change. In that sense, Queen Letizia's intervention might have been more political than it first appeared, even if veiled in the language of empathy. To understand the weight of her confession, one must understand Spain's relationship with wildfires. Every summer, the country braces for flames. The combination of scorching Mediterranean heat, prolonged droughts, and vast expanses of dry forest create the perfect recipe for disaster. Add to this the ongoing debate about rural abandonment, where villages have emptied out, leaving behind unmanaged land and brush that become fuel for fires, and the result is a tinderbox waiting to ignite. For decades, governments have promised reforms, better fire management, and investment in prevention, but every year the flames return, sometimes worse than before. This year has been particularly brutal, with entire regions reporting record-breaking damage. Thousands have been evacuated, lives have been lost, and questions about the future have intensified. Against this background, Queen Letizia's words carry far more than symbolic weight. Her confession also shines a spotlight on the evolving role of modern royals in crisis communication. Traditionally, monarchs were expected to remain neutral, to offer comfort without stepping into controversial territory. But in today's world, where disasters are amplified by 24-hour media coverage and climate change looms as a global emergency, silence can appear as indifference. Queen Letizia, with her background as a journalist before becoming royal, understands the power of words. She knows that emotion can move people where politics cannot. By saying, "everyone," she placed responsibility not just on the government, but on every citizen, every community, every Spaniard, and even on the international community watching from afar. It was not just an expression of sorrow, it was a call to consciousness. The reaction has been immense. Survivors in the affected regions described feeling seen, valued, and supported after hearing her words. Emergency responders welcomed the attention, hoping it would bring more resources and recognition to their tireless, dangerous work. Environmental activists seized the opportunity, amplifying her statement as proof that even the monarchy recognized the urgency of addressing climate change. At the same time, Skeptics argued that words, however moving, are not enough. They pointed out that the Spanish monarchy has limited direct power, and that it is up to elected leaders to enact reforms. To them, the Queen's confession, while heartfelt, risked raising expectations that she could not fulfill. Still, no one denies that her intervention has shifted the conversation. Spain is now buzzing with debate not only about the practicalities of fire prevention but about the broader identity of the nation in the face of disaster. Are Spaniards prepared to change habits, adapt lifestyles, and demand political action to confront the growing wildfire threat? Or will they return, as in previous years, to mourning the devastation, only to forget once the rains return? By making her statement, Queen Letizia has forced the issue into the collective conscience, perhaps more powerfully than any politician could have done. It is also worth considering the personal side of her confession. Those close to the royal family say Queen Letizia has always been deeply sensitive to human suffering. Unlike royals born into privilege, she comes from a middle-class background, having worked as a journalist covering international crises before marrying King Felipe. That background may explain why she is less willing than others to hide behind polished statements when she feels genuine anguish. Observers noted that during her visit, she spent unusually long moments with affected families, holding hands, listening to their stories, and comforting children who had lost their homes. For many, this was not simply a public performance but a reflection of her authentic personality. As Spain moves forward, the Queen's confession may be remembered as a turning point. Will it inspire the government to invest more heavily in fire prevention and rural revitalization? Will it galvanize citizens to demand change and participate in environmental protection? Or will it fade into the long list of impassioned statements that briefly stir the nation before being overtaken by the next crisis? The answer lies in the weeks and months to come. What is certain, however, is that her words will not be easily forgotten. They have cut through political noise and touched the human heart, reminding Spain that the fight against wildfires is not an abstract policy debate but a struggle for survival, dignity, and the preservation of a homeland loved by millions. And so, as the smoke clears and the embers continue to burn in Spain's forests, the nation stands at a crossroads. One woman's urgent confession has forced everyone to look in the mirror and confront the truth about what is happening to their land. The question now is whether those words will ignite lasting action or remain only a fleeting spark in the storm of Spain's long struggle with fire. Will Spain rise to meet the challenge, or will future generations inherit a land forever scarred by flames? Viewers, we would love to know your thoughts. Do you believe Queen Letizia's confession will spark real change, or will it be lost in political promises? Tell us in the comments below. And if you want to stay updated on the latest royal developments and breaking news from Spain and beyond, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with others who care about the future of our world.